What kind of man could vanish into Maine's endless forests, living as one with the wild, leaving only whispers of his presence? Step into the mist-shrouded pines of the pine tree state, where the legend of the Maine woodsman weaves a tale of solitude, survival, and mystery. Picture a solitary figure, cloaked in flannel, moving silently through the north woods, his eyes sharp as a hawk's, his steps leaving no trace. For decades, this elusive woodsman has haunted the imagination of Mainers, a symbol of the untamed wilderness just beyond the campfire's glow. From hushed stories told in logging camps to fleeting sightings by hunters, his legend is as rugged as the land itself. Let's follow his trail through the forests of Maine, chasing a shadow that's equal parts hero, hermit, and enigma, in a story that'll pull you deep into the heart of the unknown. In the late 1800s, when Maine's logging industry thrived, tales of the woodsman began to take root in places like Aroostook and Penobscot counties. He was no ordinary man, but a master of the wild, described as tall and lean, with a weathered face framed by a tangled beard, often seen in a red flannel shirt, axe in hand. Lumberjacks swapping stories by the fire spoke of a man who could fell a pine with a single swing, track a deer through a blizzard, or build a shelter from spruce boughs in hours. In 1893, a Bangor trapper claimed he met the woodsman near Moosehead Lake, sharing a meal of venison. He didn't say much, the trapper recalled, but his hands moved like they knew the woods better than I knew my own name. Another logger, in 1902, swore he saw a figure mend a broken sled with nothing but a knife and twine, vanishing before dawn. These men admired his skills, survival, tracking, and an uncanny knack for blending into the trees. But who was the woodsman? Some say he was a hunter, honed by years in the wilderness, perhaps a descendant of early trappers who roamed before Maine was a state. Others believe he was a recluse, fleeing society's grip, maybe a Civil War deserter or a man broken by loss, seeking solitude in the forest's embrace. A 1910 tale from Millinocket suggested he was a Penobscot guide, shunned for his mixed heritage, who chose the woods over prejudice. Another theory whispers of a wealthy eccentric, abandoning city life for the raw freedom of the wild, like a 19th century Thoreau, but without the pen. No records pin him down, no name, no birth certificate, just stories that shift like the wind. Each version reflects Maine's soul, a place where independence and nature reign, where a man could become a myth by simply walking away. The tales grew richer over time, passed down in smoky logging camps and rural taverns. One story, told in a 1920 Skowhegan bar, claimed the woodsman saved a lost boy near Kittadine, leaving him at a ranger station with a blanket and a fire, gone before anyone could thank him. Another, from 1935, spoke of a hunter near Rangeley Lake who stumbled on a hidden lean-to, stocked with dried meat and a hand-carved bough, only to find it empty days later, as if the woodsman sensed intrusion. A darker tale from the 1940s whispered of a poacher found tied to a tree, his traps destroyed, with no sign of who'd caught him. Locals swore it was the woodsman, guarding the forest balance. These stories paint him as a protector, a ghost of the wild, but some saw menace in his silence, wondering if his solitude hid a dangerous edge. First-hand accounts bring the legend to life. In 1952, a Greenville fisherman, John Carver, claimed he met the woodsman while ice fishing on Moosehead Lake. He came out of snow like he was part of it, Carver said. Gave me a trout, showed me how to clean it proper, then walked off. Didn't want nothing in return. In 1968, a hiker near Mount Blue, Sarah Tuttle, described a man in red flannel watching her from a ridge. He didn't speak, just pointed toward trail when I got turned around. I looked back, and he was gone. These encounters, often brief, cast him as a quiet guardian, but others tell a different tale. A 1975 Rumford hunter swore a figure shadowed him for days, rustling branches, leaving him spooked. Was the woodsman watching over the woods or warning intruders away? Some saw him as a benevolent spirit, guiding the lost. Others feared a loner who valued his privacy above all, his intentions as murky as a foggy lake. Today, the Maine woodsman remains a vibrant thread in the state's tapestry. His legend resonates in a world where wilderness feels ever smaller, a reminder of a time when one could vanish into nature's vastness. In 2013, the tale of Christopher Knight, the North Pond hermit who lived alone in the woods for 27 years, reignited fascination, with some calling him a modern woodsman. Yet, unlike Knight's confirmed story, the woodsman's elusiveness keeps him mythical, a blank canvas for our longing to reconnect with the wild. Mainers, sharing childhood tales of the man in the woods, keep the story alive, proving his grip on the imagination. The legend endures in festivals and campfire gatherings, where storytellers weave new threads into his myth, tying past to present. Folklore like this shapes how we see history and nature. The woodsman embodies Maine's rugged individualism, its reverence for the forest, and its storytelling tradition, born around campfires where lumberjacks traded tales of survival. These stories, passed from Penobscot elders to European settlers, weave a cultural thread, linking us to the land's untamed spirit. They remind us that history isn't just dates and deeds, but the dreams we tell to make sense of the world. The woodsman's mystery, his unknown name, his silent purpose, fuels endless fascination, inviting us to wonder what drives someone to choose solitude over society, to become one with the pines. His legacy runs deep in Maine's identity, a state where the forest is both livelihood and lore. From Stephen King's novels to Wabanaki tales of Gluskap, Maine thrives on stories that blur man and myth. The woodsman is a hero for those who value self-reliance, a caution for those who fear the unknown, and a muse for artists and writers. His shadow looms in the Allagash, where guides still tell his tales, and in small-town diners, where locals debate if he was real. He's a symbol of freedom, a man who answered only to the wilderness, and that raw independence defines Maine's soul. To chase the woodsman's spirit, visit the Maine Forest and Logging Museum in Bradley, where exhibits on 19th-century lumber camps bring his era to life. The Penobscot Nation Museum in Indian Island preserves Wabanaki stories, offering insight into the cultural roots that shaped his legend. The Baxter State Park Visitor Center near Katahdin shares tales of the North Woods, where the woodsman's presence might still linger. These places invite you to step into Maine's past, where history and folklore intertwine. As we stand at the forest's edge, imagine the woodsman slipping through the trees, his red flannel fading into dusk. He's a fleeting shadow in Maine's lore, a man who chose the wild over the world, leaving only stories in his wake. Was he a guardian of the woods, a loner with secrets, or something more? His legend lives in every rustling leaf, every campfire tale, urging us to explore the mysteries of Maine. What's your take on the woodsman? Share in the comments, like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more Northeast legends. Stay curious, and maybe listen for his footsteps in the pines. Thanks for watching.